Good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys doing? Man, my eyes look sleepy. How are you guys doing? I know I had originally said I was going to come on at 11:30, but I needed to get my son ready to go to school so his dad could take him, and so I was a little behind, so I changed it to noon. How are you guys? We are going to be making something that I have never made in the crock pot before, but I've had it a ton of times. Hi, Lacey. How are you? And it's a beef stew. My mom always used to make beef stews. Never a ranch one, so that's a little bit different. But who doesn't love a beef stew with hearty vegetables in it and potatoes, which is obviously a vegetable. And sorry, guys. Hold on. My dogs are chasing my cats. Sorry, guys. Gage, Kush, come on, babies. All right. Hello, Dawn and Tina. How are you guys? Lacey, I'm glad you are good. All right, so I'm going to share this video really quick to my personal Facebook page and some cooking groups. And then, cross our fingers, I am going to share it into the Crockpot Heaven group. So I'm hoping that it goes over well. Sorry, guys. You know I hate when my dogs bark, but nothing I can really do. I can't predict when they're going to bark. But we live out here in the country, so sometimes when cars drive by, they get worried that they're going to come into our driveway, and so they start barking for no reason. So I'm just sharing this post really, really fast, and then we will get started because it has to cook for 6 to 8 hours in the crock pot. So I need as much time as possible to get this cooking so that the potatoes and the carrots are nice and tender. I'm not really worried about the meat. I know that that will get nice and tender. It's definitely the vegetables that take a little bit longer. Yes, you guys, I am excited for this. With this cold weather we've got going on, I am super excited for the beef stew. I am making a ranch beef stew. That is what we are going to be doing today. It's going to be so yummy, so delicious. I am going to cut some of my vegetables and stuff a little bit smaller so that it doesn't take as long to cook. And then we'll just kind of be relying on the beef. The person that made this recipe said that it can safely cook in almost any crock pot. I think for 9 hours, she said, without it burning or really doing any damage to the recipe. Let me double check how many hours she said. Huh. I know I read it somewhere, but now I can't see it. So we're going to cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours. I know she wrote it in here, but now I can't find it. But it was quite a long time. So like if you want to make it before you go to work and you're worried it's going to cook too long, she is basically saying that you have a good chunk of time, a safety net for this. The recipe will cook for up to 9 hours without burning or causing any problems on low. And it says in most every crock pot. Thank you for sharing. Hello, you guys. Happy afternoon. We are going to start this beef stew. And it's this website has a couple of stew recipes on it, so I want to make sure that I'm pulling up the correct one. Yes. All right. So we are going to start off with 2 pounds of stew meat. Hello, Mom. How are you? My mother-in-law just jumped on. How are you? All right, so we are going to get going on this, you guys. I have my stew meat right here. You can get stew meat at the grocery store. I got mine from my butcher, and it comes in just little packages like this, all day stuff, ready to go. Stew meat. Mine are in 1 pound packets each, so I'm going to use 2 of them. We need 2 pounds of stew meat. I am using the wrong scissors, but what I did want to do, and I'm noticing there's just a lot of extra juice in my stew meat. So I want to kind of soak up some of that. I don't want it to taste super irony, and it is kind of bloody in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of dump out the stew meat onto my paper towel, it's going to soak into my countertop. That was a lot more juice than I thought there was. And you guys don't have to do this by any means, but I really don't like how much there is in here. Okay, here we go. So much, you guys. All right, so I've got that out there, and we are going to take our meat and some flour, and we are going to toss it in a Ziploc bag and get it nice and coated. What would it be, Dad? It looks like blood. It smells like blood. So what would it be if it's not blood? Please enlighten me, because it smells like it. If it smells like blood and looks like blood, I would say it's blood, right? I mean, right? Am I just a dork? Is it not? My dad is making me feel like I have lost my mind. But it smells like blood. It smells like iron. It's very, like, pungent. Whatever. Hopefully he's just picking on me. All right, so we're going to do a 1/3 cup of flour in a big Ziploc bag. I'm using a gallon-size Ziploc bag. You can, if you don't have gallon Ziploc bags, but you have smaller ones, just divide up your meat and toss it around like that. I did take my stew meat out of the fridge a little while ago so that it can kind of come to room temperature before we throw it into our skillet. Anytime you are cooking with a protein, you want it to come to as close to room temperature before you bring it to heat. There's something about it that it doesn't release as much juice if you do that. So when you're cooking burgers or steaks, take it out of your fridge like an hour before you're gonna serve it. Let it come to room temperature and then season it and put it on the grill. You also wanna make sure when you're working with proteins that, especially if you're using anything that's got salt or sodium in it, to not season your meat ahead of time. That sodium and that salt will just dry your meat right up before it even has a chance to cook. So just keep that in mind. It's a myoglobin, a muscle protein. Well, you know what? I don't like it. All right, so we are going to toss this around, you guys. This is the one setback to a lot of beef Crockpot recipes that I don't like. Hello, Jamie and Tracy. I don't like having to do work if I'm just going to throw it in my Crockpot. So it does kind of bum me out that most beef and pork recipes want you to brown the meat beforehand, because that's just an extra step. And if you're rushing out the door at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning to your job, you don't want to heat your skillet up and fry some meat up and then throw it in the crock pot. So I get that. I'm not sure if you can do this step the night before or what. I've never found a recipe that says you can prep it the night before. Hello, everybody. We are going to be making this ranch beef stew. So we have our 2 pounds of stew meat in here. I've got it coated in a 1/3 cup of flour. And we are going to heat our skillet on medium-high heat, add the meat and garlic, and brown it on all sides. So you guys, I did something at the grocery store the other day. I was buying those little jars of garlic. Every week I felt like I was going to the grocery store and it was on my list. And so I went and found a jumbo size of the minced garlic. You guys, I'm so excited that I'm not going to have to buy this again for a while. Super awesome find at the grocery store. I'm going to grab you guys and just bring you over a little bit. Here we are. Get you guys in the right angle. Dad, never brown it. You're way too lazy. That's what I'm saying. And I don't know if it really affects the recipe all that much, if I'm sacrificing a lot. I just don't know. So I never know if I can skip that step or if I need to keep it. Yeah, So, I mean, I don't know if it really makes a difference. And, you know, my mom used to make this all the time when I was a kid. So, maybe she did skip that step. She doesn't seem to me like someone that would do it either. All right, so we're going to do 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil, whatever oil you like to cook your protein in. I'm going to use canola oil. And then we want 2 teaspoons, I think it says, of garlic. Boop, 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 boop. We'll just drag this over here right now. Yeah, skipping this step would be nice, but we're going to do it. I want it to be the best beef stew ever so that my husband asks for it again. All right, so we do 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I should have opened this up ahead of time, but you guys know me. I don't do a whole lot of prep. I pull out all my ingredients and my measuring cups, but other than that, I don't do much with the rest of my recipes prepping. So bear with me. Here we go. 2 teaspoons of our garlic. I'm going to heat our pan up, medium-high heat, and we're going to toss our beef in there. What I'm going to do, because we've got to prep some of our other ingredients. So I'm going to bring our potatoes over here really quick, and while this is heating up, so it just says medium potato. It doesn't say what kind of potatoes or anything like that. You've prepped the entire recipe the night before and just put the crock pot insert in the fridge until it was ready to cook. I have the slow cooker that had a saute function. That's awesome. You need extra garlic. Need to keep those girls off of Kingston. Yep, Kingston has a girlfriend at school, you guys. My 4-year-old has a girlfriend at school. Her name's Chloe, and she just loves him. And she seriously says that she loves him, you guys. It makes my heart skip a beat. She's super cute, though, so that's okay. All right, so I did wash my potatoes already. The recipe doesn't say what kind of potatoes to use, so I just picked golden potatoes. My husband loves red potatoes, and I love russet, so this is my meeting in the middle. It doesn't say that you have to peel the potato. So what I'm going to kind of do is what I do with like cucumbers and stuff, is I'm just going to kind of peel off half of the skin and leave the other half, because there are a lot of vitamins and proteins in the skin. And a lot of people will say that all the flavor of the potato is in the skin. So I am going to leave some of that on there so that we get some of that flavor and that protein. All right, so our skillet, I have it on just medium heat right now. It is a cast iron skillet because I really want, I want our meat to have a really nice crisp brown outer shell. So I'm going to use my cast iron skillet. If you don't use one, that's fine. Just any kind of skillet with some oil in it, and then you're just gonna brown the meat on all sides. That's what we're gonna do. Get this meat ready. Thank you guys all who have tuned in to start watching me today. I know a lot of you guys have jobs, daytime jobs, and so it's hard for you guys to catch these videos in the middle of the day with me, but I appreciate it when you do. All right. So we just need 2 teaspoons. I always do heaping teaspoons. I am not afraid of garlic. So, got that in there. I'm going to grab out, trying to decide what tongs I want to use. Just kind of spread this garlic around. Get it nice and spread out so that your beef all gets the nice garlic treatment. Good morning, Dawn. All right. So, and with a cast iron skillet, you want to, when you first lay your meat on the pan, you just want it to sit there. You don't want to touch it. You don't want to mess with it. You don't want to turn it too quickly. You want it to just get a nice brown outer shell with the cast iron skillet. You can always just dump your meat straight into your pan. You don't have to be particular like me. I think this is a little bit of my OCD coming in and wanting all of the meat to be in one layer on my pan. And I don't want to overwhelm my pan. Yeah, Crystal, I actually was never told that. I feel like here in North Dakota, or at least in Minot, it's really rare to come across a gas stove. We just all run off of electric. So I didn't really have an option. So I've always just cooked on my electric stove. It's just, yeah. So I'm glad you do it too. I didn't know it was wrong, so I'm just going to keep doing it. I do find obviously that it gets really hot sometimes, and I do just turn the heat down and let it cook itself on this cast iron. But other than that, it hasn't done anything to my pan or to my electric skillet. So I did about half the meat, you guys, in this pan. I don't want to overwhelm it. Tracy, that's what people are saying. My dad says he doesn't do it because he doesn't have the time, doesn't have the patience, whatever it is. So we'll see. We'll see if I can really tell that this was browned beforehand when I eat it tonight. I will definitely let you guys know if it made a difference at all, because I'm just going to follow this recipe to a T and see what happens. It is an extra step, but like I have this time, you guys. My kids are at school, so I'm just going to take my time and do the best beef stew I know how to do. So I'm just going to dice up my potatoes. Like I said, you guys, I'm going to do mine kind of small so that they don't take too long to cook, so that if my kiddos and my husband are ready to eat earlier, the food's going to be ready for them. Just dice these up. Obviously, the bigger potato you have, the more you should dice it up. They said in the recipe, the item that takes the longest to cook will be your carrots. So, that, and they said especially if you are using big whole carrots, you want to cut them up into 1/2 inch in size. So what I'm going to do, I'm using, it says four medium potatoes. I did 5 because mine are on the smaller end of the potatoes. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to dice some of these up a little bit smaller. Because if all else fails, they cook up and they become part of the gravy. All right. So we've got our, I don't like these tongs. I knew I hesitated when I pulled them out of the drawer. Yes, Dad, I am chopping directly on my countertop. Somebody asked me last week what kind of countertop I had that I could cut directly onto it. And I have no idea, but it doesn't cut through. So I do it anyway. My countertop's clean. My husband and I went on a cleaning spree last night. Well, yesterday afternoon, and we went around the house and cleaned the floors, and he vacuumed like the corners of every room and vacuumed the stairs and did all the laundry. We were on a cleaning spree yesterday. It felt good once we got done, but when I woke up this morning, you guys, I was so sore from getting on my hands and knees and cleaning the corners and the baseboards and stuff. But I'm glad it's done now. So this is the part of browning meat that I absolutely hate. I wish, and I'm sure there is at this point, something that has been invented that will flip all your meat for you. But, oh well. What I also like about this is it is cooking the meat a little bit. So maybe I won't have to have it in the crock pot for so long. The 6 to 8 hours just sounds like a long time to wait for food. So my pan did get a little bit hotter than I'd like it, so I did turn it down. Cast iron holds a lot of heat, so you don't have to be scared to turn it down. It will continue to hold that heat for you. Alright. I think I flipped it all. Now, I'm sure I missed a bunch. Aren't you afraid to ruin your knives? To scratch the counter. Not scratch the counter. My knives need sharpened so bad. Jody, yes, I am so excited about this warm meals. Yep, my dogs are really waiting, wanting Mom to drop some food. So I'm going to just use baby carrots in here because I already have them. What I'm going to do, so it says 3 cups. 3 cups of baby carrots. I would say this is probably around the bag full. I am going to cut my carrots in half. Like I said, I just want everything to get done at the same time and a little bit faster. All right. I feel like my countertop is probably nicer on my knives than my plastic cutting board. I read, that the plastic cutting boards aren't very safe for your knives anyway. I love my wood cutting board, but when it comes to like meat and stuff like that, I try not to use it because I know that stuff just soaks into the pores of the cutting board and you can't ever really get it clean. I am just cutting off. I don't like these little end pieces. They don't look too good. Woo! My dog got a carrot. All right. So, a couple more, and then we're gonna pull our beef off. Add another chunk of it, another pound into. My dog is looking at it like, I don't even think I want a carrot. But when one dog thinks it's good, the other dog gets excited too. So then they fight over it. There we go. I am going to pull off our beef. Unstick it. And then grab it and stick it in my pan with all of that garlic on there. All right. I am going to add a little bit more oil since we are doing it in 2 batches. Just kind of eyeball it, maybe a tablespoon or less. And, of course, I am going to add another little bit of garlic. There we go. Got that in there. Your dogs love carrots. I'm not sure. They ate them. I'm not sure if they love them. I am making ranch beef stew. Use mineral oil on your wood cutting boards. It'll fill those. Yep, I've got some mineral oil for my cutting board. I do. So we are making ranch beef stew. We've got our potatoes cut up. We've got our carrots cut up. You don't have to cut your carrots. I did just so that they cook a little bit faster. The person that wrote this recipe just warns that your carrots take longer than your potatoes, and just to make sure that if you're using whole carrots, that you need to cut them to 1/2 inch in size to make sure that they will be done along with everything else. Nothing worse than some extra crunchy carrots in a nice warm stew. Some people like that though. Like their vegetables to be a little more crunchy. Alright, so our beef is back in there. I need to turn my heat up again on my stove. Good morning, Kitty. How are you? So we've got our carrots and our potatoes. Let's see what our directions say. Alright, while I am cooking my meat, prep my veggies. Toss them in the slow cooker as you chop them. So we're going to toss these in here. I have 1 carrot that somehow made it past the chopping block. And it was a whole carrot, and now I can't find it. Funny. Okay, we got our potatoes, we got our carrots. We have 1 pound of our beef in there. Tina, this one doesn't say, it says obviously to toss the veggies in while you chop them. So maybe that's her subliminal way of saying keep the veggies on the bottom. So I'll kind of toss it like that so that my veggies are on the bottom. That would make sense, obviously. It is going to be hotter on the edges and in the bottom. than anywhere else, but I am not sure. I actually haven't heard it, but it makes sense. Yes, I am glad it's Friday too. So now we are going to just do a cup of celery. My kids love celery. My dogs are like freaking out right now. They're like, the beef bag dropped on the ground. All right, so I'm just going to grab a couple of stalks of celery. Just a couple of them. Give them a good rinse. Get some of that dirt off of there. All right. Just kind of line these up. I'm not a professional chopper, but I am just going to kind of cut them. I want to keep them big enough that you know what they are in the stew, but small enough that they will cook right along with all the rest of the veggies. I'm using the wrong knife for this, but I don't feel like making another knife dirty. So that's about right, you guys. That's about a cup of celery. Let's see if my dog eats celery. He thinks he wants it. The other one thinks he wants it too. Yes, Eileen, please watch it later. Yes, thank God it's Friday. What Friday wine do you recommend for the beef stew? You know what? I'm not a wine drinker, so I don't have any recommendations. So, Dad, will you make a recommendation? Because you are a wine drinker. What would we drink with a beef stew on a Friday night? My husband and I stick to water, milk, and sometimes orange soda. We love, love, love orange soda and Dr. Pepper. That is my husband and my favorite drink. All right, so I'm just flipping this beef over, getting it cooked on all sides. There we go. I turned my heat down again. It does do a really good job of getting hot. I need to get a bigger cast iron skillet. It's on my want list. And bigger cast iron skillet. And I love the ones that come with a handle protector because it gets really hot. I don't like wine either. I think my towel has some tomato sauce on it. Yes, Dr. Pepper is the best. Amarillo would be your choice, but you would add a half cup to the stew. That's the way the bottle is opened early. Well, it looks like none of my viewers really like wine. So let's stick with Dr. Pepper and orange soda and, oh, my dogs are back for more celery, you guys. Celery was a hit. That's funny. Nope, he dropped down the floor. He doesn't want it now. All right, now we're going to do a can of diced tomatoes. I was really kind of surprised when I read tomatoes in my beef stew because I don't remember there being tomatoes in it, but if they say so. So I did no salt added Hunt's diced tomatoes. It doesn't say to strain them, so I'm just going to stick them in there and not strain any of the juices off of them. Alright, so we got our tomatoes in there. Alright, it says to mix a cup of the broth with leftover flour. I didn't have any leftover flour, honestly. So I'm not sure what exactly to do, but we're going to do a cup of beef broth with the little tiny bit of flour that's left in my Ziploc bag. My meat was the exact perfect amount for this flour, so it's very little amount. So if you aren't cooking your meat ahead of time, I'm not sure if you would just do flour and the beef broth like so. Give it about 5 minutes to thicken up. Make sure and stir it every few minutes. So we've got a cup of broth in here, you guys, with a little bit of flour and the second pound of meat that I'm cooking up. So I've got it on kind of low heat right now, but we're gonna let that cook for 5 minutes. Once the mixture is thickened, pour it into the crock pot, add the remaining ingredients and stir. So we need 2 more cups of beef broth, and I am going to, so with my beef broth, I am going to do kind of the same concept that they want to do with the flour, but I'm going to add my ranch seasoning into my broth. I can't believe I have done this entire meal all shoved in this corner over here instead of where I normally cook. So I am going to do this so that the ranch seasoning doesn't get clumped up. Iced tea, yes. Yum, yum, yum. Sweet tea, yes. Sweet tea is really good. My husband had that for the first time, believe it or not. Like this last summer, we have a barbecue food truck, and he serves real good southern sweet tea. And my husband came home carrying this styrofoam cup and was like, oh my gosh, you have to try this. And I was thinking it was going to be something different. And I took a big sip and I'm like, it's sweet tea. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. So I was laughing that he had never had good southern sweet tea. All right, so I don't want my ranch seasoning to clump up in my crock pot. So I'm going to do what they did with the flour. And I'm going to do the 2 tablespoons. Keeping tablespoons is what I did because I really want that ranch flavor to come through. 2 tablespoons of the ranch seasoning. And I'm going to whisk it up into my other 2 cups of broth. Nope, there isn't onion in this stew. I did have somebody comment and ask if you could add onion. I would say yes, you can. You would dice up probably either half to a whole medium-sized yellow onion is what I would recommend. You won't, don't want anything other than that, I don't think. I wouldn't use a purple onion or a white onion. I would definitely use a yellow onion, but ranch seasoning has a lot of onion powder in it. So just be wary of that. If you do want to add more onion in, because garlic and onion are the main ingredients in this ranch powder. Also, you guys can get either the packets of the ranch, or I buy this entire ranch shaker because I make homemade ranch all the time, so it's easier to do it this way. But it's also awesome to not have to get a tablespoon out of a packet when you can just dive into this. So yes, all the awesome drippings in this pan are getting nice and soaked up with this broth in here and this beef in here. All that garlic's getting pulled up. So I'm going to kind of scooch over, make sure we've got everything in here. We've got our beef, our onions. We've got our beef, our carrots, our celery, our garlic, tomatoes, beef broth, ranch seasoning. It's all in here. So this is, why I didn't want to skip this step, because they had, a couple of steps tied to this one of wanting you to add this broth in here and kind of get this thickened up and cooked up. So I would say this will make a difference in the stew. I know it's an extra step and it's a pain, but somebody did just comment and say that they do prep this the night before, and that then they just stick it in their crock pot liner. If you don't know what those are, they're awesome. They come, they're in the Ziploc section of the grocery store, and they're crock pot liners, and they come in packs, I think, of 4 crock pot liners in a box. It's a blue box. And it says slow cooker, I think, on it. And they're awesome to line your crock pot with. But you also could prep this recipe in one of your one of your liners, pick it up, tie it up, put it in your fridge, and then just put it back into your crock pot when you want to cook it. So this is nice and thickened up. I don't know if you guys can tell. Sorry guys, I know my dogs are loud. So this is nice and thickened up. It looks almost like a gravy now with all those drippings and garlic and stuff in there. Homemade ranch is so good, you guys. I've never made my own ranch seasoning, but homemade ranch is the bee's knees. Okay, so just be really, really careful when you're pouring this into your pan, I don't want anybody to burn themselves. So I'm going to get all that yumminess out of there. Only downside is cast irons are super heavy. So if you have a bad shoulder or bad back, it's going to be kind of hard to use it in your kitchen because it is heavier. So we've got all that in there, you guys. It looks so good. I'm so glad. I hope this is ready faster than 6 to 8 hours. All right, and now I'm just going to pour our rest of our beef broth, 2 cups of beef broth. Say that 10 times fast. And the rest of our, there we go. So we've got our ranch seasoning, 2 tablespoons of ranch seasoning, 2 cups of beef broth, 3 altogether, you guys, in this recipe. Now, we are ready to just stick this in the crock pot on low for 6 to 8 hours. There it is, you guys. So excited. Oh no, Harmony, you guys lost power? Where are you at that there's a bad storm? That's scary. So I'm just going to cover this, you guys. Yeah, I hope I don't have to wait until 7 to eat this because it looks so good. I wish you guys could smell it because it just smells so hearty and rich and garlicky and smells so good. I'm just going to clean this up. Unfortunately, because I am in the middle of the day, we didn't hit our goal. It keeps fluctuating back and forth. Kim, I would say purchase it. Don't be scared of the seasoning process because you do only have to do it once. And then every time that you cook after that is seasoning it even more because you're not going to use any soap or anything on your cast iron once you cook with it. But I will tell you the story of the first time I seasoned my cast iron. I didn't know what I was doing. I was using it on my electric stove here. I was reading the directions online and I was following along, and the oil that I had in my cast iron, it caught fire on my cast iron. I didn't know what to do. Just huge flames coming up from my stove. My husband and I didn't know what to do, so we panicked. He opened this back door over here. We don't have a deck there, so it's just open space and it's a drop down to our floor. Thankfully, it was wintertime like this. He opened it up. I grabbed it, flaming, and I threw it into a snowbank outside. Okay? So be careful if you're going to season it. And I know I need to make a video to show you guys how to do it so that you guys don't end up catching yourself fire. But just know, if you are going to season your cast iron and you are nervous about it, keep a big box of baking soda next to you while you're doing it. Because if you notice that your oil is getting too hot, because it will go from oil to flames in literally a blink of an eye, you will have no warning. You will douse it in baking soda because it's oil. So it isn't hard and it is so, so worth it, you guys. Ooh, it's snowing in New York. My dad's in Texas and he got a couple of inches of snow, which is crazy. It probably gives a longer time because beef stew meat is generally chuck, which is tougher cut, and it takes a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm thinking right now, because I cooked it basically on the skillet, I'm just going to be waiting for my vegetables to get tender. So I'm hoping I made them small enough. Yeah, I hope you guys get your power back on. It's so awful in a storm without power. This stew is so good, you guys. Oh, man. No power, so crazy. Yeah, Crystal, not funny, but a funny story. Now that it's done and over with and no one got hurt and everything is okay, it was funny. And it's that cast iron skillet, you guys, so I went out the next day and I grabbed it out of the snowbank and brought it back into my house and have used it ever since. So, what I'm thinking is I will go on Amazon. I'll find myself a bigger cast iron skillet with a covered handle. And then when it comes, I will season it on... I knocked the lid off my crock pot. I will season it on Facebook with you guys. 8 inches of snow in Texas where my dad lived, you guys. So crazy. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. You guys know I love doing giveaways, but today is just not the prime time for everybody to watch. But there was a bunch of you, and I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I am so excited for this. I do want to make a little note to you guys. I know I lift my lid up a lot to show you guys, but when it comes to your crock pot and your slow cooker, it relies on that seal that it creates when the food starts to cook. So you do, I don't know if you slow it down, or it just isn't good to lift your lid up of your crock pot until it's close to being done. So if it says 6 to 8 hours, lifting it at the 5-hour mark is fine, but don't lift it every hour, every half hour to look at it because it smells so good, because you are actually hurting your recipe by doing that. So just keep that in mind. Jasmine, I wish I could share this all with you guys. Alice, I will. I will definitely post you guys when I get the package, and that will be your guys' sign that I will do my cast iron video probably that same day. So I'll let you know, Alice. I will definitely let you know. I'm excited. I'm going to get my kitchen cleaned up. I haven't had lunch yet, so it smells really good. I wish I could eat it now, but I'll make myself something to eat. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm thinking we haven't done that pink lemonade pie yet, and I have all the ingredients for it, so I need to do that tomorrow or the next day. So you guys let me know in the comments if Saturday or Sunday would work better for pink lemonade pie. Super easy. Just buy a crust at the grocery store, get whipped cream, get pink lemonade juice in the frozen section. Super easy, you guys, and we will make that either Saturday or Sunday. 18 to 23 inches. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys. I'm sorry, you guys. My heart is with you with the you guys that are out of power. I hope you guys stay safe and warm. Go seek some shelter somewhere else if you guys know you're going to get snowed in without power. Just be careful. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I can't wait to post a picture of what this is going to look like when it's all done. Bye.